How long have we been going at this, Olivia? 50 minutes? Yeah. Can I talk? Well, let me bring up one more thing.
Okay.
I was talking. I've been talking to a lot of people lately. I've been on the phone talking to a lot of people lately, but I was talking to somebody. Been in this industry a long time, and she was this. We were talking about this, right? And she does both styles too. She'll do more solid and striking and bold when her clients want it, and then she can get out a single needle and do light saturation and pixely if that's what her client wants.
Yeah.
But her low saturation, like yours, her ombre brow, her single needle work, I mean, her pigment heals in. She has amazing color retention in the first session, healed. Mm-hmm. You have that.
Look at Willa.
Yeah. No, you can do a single needle brow, Ren, and Michonne could do this.
Yeah.
You can do a single needle brow, whip shade that sucker, and that heals with a shit ton color. And it's ombre where it's supposed to be. The blend and the gradient is beautiful. The tail and the brow is like more strike. You just have great color retention using the single needle. So does this other artist that I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be teaching that all this year. You got classes.
Yeah. So speaking of that.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Let me get to my point here. And then we're going to talk about your classes. Because I'm on a roll here.
Right.
But so we were talking about this whole thing, like, why are, these group of artists out there that have not been in the industry that long, calling high saturated work old school? Why are they working so shallow and using dark colors to get medium tone? I'm like, how did this all happen? Mm-hmm. And you know what her theory was, this all started when organics hit the industry. When organic pigments hit the industry and blew up.
Okay.
Because all of us, and she made kind of sense. So I was like, huh. And she said, because when you're working with organics, especially if they're super strong, like body tattoo pigments, you have to work. You have to be more careful not to oversaturate.
Right.
They implant a little bit quicker, little bit easier. Mm-hmm. And so once trainers got on these organic pigments and started teaching students, that was the teaching. So her theory was the industry ended up here because of organics.
Yeah.
And you have to work with organics a little differently than you work with inorganics.
Right.
So that made sense to me. Mm-hmm. However, there's this whole big turnaround and head back to inorganics.
I've seen posts about inorganics now more than ever, especially for nano strokes.
Yes, yeah. The whole industry is an exodus. They're leaving organics and they're going back to inorganics. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are coming back to LI pigments, the OG of inorganics. And so with inorganics, these young artists that are taught, the single needle, the one movement, low saturation, and even shallow. Yeah. In order for inorganics to work for them, they are going to have to learn to work a little bit differently. Right. They are. Not a whole lot differently. It's not leaps and bounds apart, the way you have to work with the two pigments. But there are little changes, Inorganics, they don't implant hard. It's not hard and challenging to implant them, but organics implant a little easier, a little quicker.
Yeah.
So I just think it's all interesting. So I appreciate you talking about that with me and enlightening me.
Yeah.
On your perspective. I knew you'd have a perspective because you're one of them.
I've witnessed a lot. I've sat through a lot. I mean, because I've gone through 15 certificate classes, right? And all in the last 5 years. I think just in the last few years, I stopped getting handed that AliExpress 3-setting machine that's not safe.
Yeah.
And those needles that come with that, they don't contain a membrane in the needle. Right. They don't contain anything that's PPE safe for you or the client or any future clients that takes in with it. those machines only take 1 or 3s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you get to a point where it became a trend to do these group seminar classes, whether they were 1 day or 2 day, a lot of these educators were giving out, you know, the same manufacturer that would carry these machines, and they would get their logo on it and hand it out, right? And that was so they could be able to profit better for the class instead of investing in maybe a Zion or a PMU. And then the standard turned into, you don't need to learn to use a machine like that in the beginning. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You need to learn voltage.
Yeah.
And you need to learn all of the needle configurations. And I think because that started, you know, that fib started becoming more standard because people felt a little bit more vulnerable for their favorite artist that was running courses like that. Now here we are.
Yeah. So some of those trainers and a lot of those classes are being put on notice too. I mean, I you know, I see an uprising. I see change. You feel it. You know, I mean, the emails that come into us, you see it. You know, people are figuring out there's other ways to approach brows. There's better ways to train and learn techniques and procedure rather than these big. I see it. You know, that whole period you're talking about, Ren, that's when all the bad training took place. That's when all these techniques were taught. And not that these are bad techniques. You know, they're good techniques. They're just not good for every skin type. Yeah. They're not good for every brow style. That's the problem.
Yeah.
At hand. It's not that the single needle whip shading, working a little shallow on some skin types when needed. It's not that those are bad techniques. Those are excellent techniques.
Yeah.
And those are techniques that are needed in this industry and very valuable for every artist in this industry. It's just they're being taught to be cookie cutter artists and use them on every single client.
Yeah.
And
that's not fair for the trainer to do that.
No, and that's I mean that was happening for years and years and years. And so I'm not sure what's really happening with the training classes now. You know, the big training classes got a bad rap. They took some heat, you know, these last couple of years. I think you know, COVID was, you know, a horrible thing for the world. And, you know, we're, you know, 2023, bad economy, right?
Right.
And I think that, but there's always got to be some silver linings and some blessings, even in things that are challenging and hard and cause us pain, right? There's got to be blessings. You have to look for the blessings and the opportunities in those moments, in those times. And maybe that reset the industry a little bit. With the training classes, right? Maybe it reset the industry a little bit. And the training classes now will be of higher standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's just 5 minutes, your courses. We just got your courses on the calendar. They're not, by the time this launches, they will be on girlzinc.com, our training calendar. But you are doing a 2-day hands-on ombre brow course with models, the whole 9 yards, and you're only taking 4 students.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
So these seats will sell out quick.
Yes.
We priced the class at $29.50. No, what did we price it at? $28.50 for the 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you are teaching your mapping technique in this class, your needles, your movements, and how you get that beautiful ombre brow with superior healed in color retention.
Yes. I do want to mention that anytime I show anybody anything, I'm not going to show them my way or the highway because I don't have a my way or the highway. So anybody who comes in, what I want to provide is 2 different skin type models and 2 totally different ways of going about it for the same healed result.
Yeah, I love that.
So anybody who wants to come in to attend this course, the moment you come in, you witness the first model. I've always thought that that's a way better way of going about it instead of incredibly boring somebody with a seminar the first 2 hours.
They can do their a lot of their theory online.
I think you should. Because in-person time is so important. You know, why do I need to spend your hard-earned money just showing you?
So then they come in. That's kind of how I modeled my eyeliner classes. Is they come in the first thing in the morning. First thing, I do an eyeliner model. demo it, talk all the way through it, explain every step of the way why I'm doing this, why I'm doing that. Hey, look, watch me do this, show off a little bit.
Right.
So, okay. And then the rest of the day is workshop.
The rest of the day is workshop. My ombre classes, you have to be an artist for at least a whole year to be able to attend it.
Yeah.
With that being
a machine
said,
artist.
A machine artist.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy I got that brought up. Also, about every 2 months, by the time that this podcast gets posted, we will have everything officiated and online. I will also be attending a mapping class every 2 months. So for this class, every 2 months, it will be for $950. And it will be all day, and I will only let 3 people max in that class.
So 4 students in your ombre hands-on class, which is 2 days. Day 2 of your ombre class, it's all model. That's model days. That's when the students get on their models. And then you have a brow mapping only class, and that will be a 1-day class.
Yeah. So
we got those scheduled all throughout the year. So go to girlzinc.com and check those out. And you're a hell of an artist, Ren, and you're a hell of a trainer. And so yeah, I think it's fantastic, and I think people, I'm excited for people to take this class because there's a lot of artists out there, and some probably listening today that love that single needle, love the whip shading. They just wish they got better healed in color, or they just wish this, they just wish that, or they're trying to figure this out, and you figured all that out already. And so you're somebody who loves that single needle and the whip shading, but you incorporate this movement and all these little nuggets.
Yeah. And they help so much.
So much. So I think you're the next step for a lot of artists. I think you're the very next step and the right step for a lot of artists out there today. I really, really do. So, I think that's fantastic. All right. Wow. That was great. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to say goodbye now to my listeners.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'll just wait outside.
Yeah. Well, hey, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope it got you thinking. In terms of rather something's too solid or old school or along those lines, looking at it as high saturation, medium saturation, and low saturation. And when you see something posted that's high saturation, like a more solid brow or a solid eyeliner or solid lip color, maybe think that that's what the client wanted. That's exactly what the client wanted. That's how she's been wearing her makeup her whole life. That's what makes her feel pretty and attractive. And that's how she wanted her artist. That's the look she wanted her artist to achieve for her. I encourage you to think about those things rather than being quick to judge. If you're somebody who has been quick to judge, and I do believe most people are really good, and most people are not quick to judge. It's those ones out there that are judging, quick to judge, leaving nasty posts that lingers with you. It just lingers with you, and it hurts you. It hurts artists. So high saturation, medium saturation, low saturation. I encourage you all to learn how to achieve all levels of saturation and satisfy all the different types of clients that are going to be hitting you up this year for work, next year, the year after, and your entire career. So thank you for joining me. Stay in the pursuit of happiness, and we will see you next time.